Welcome to Out with Dan, the podcast that spotlights and examines the voices of LGBTQ+ authors, characters, and our allies. Together, we lift our voices and we tell our stories. I'm Dan White. Join me as I chat with this week's author. Hello, and welcome to a very special Saints and Sinners episode of Out with Dan. Today, I'm joined by Jeffrey Round. Jeffrey is a writer, director, playwright, publisher, songwriter. Oh my goodness, is there anything you left off, Jeffrey?
I'm a good cook too.
There you go. I like that. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Thank you so much. Dan, I'm thrilled and delighted to be part of your series. And I just want to have a little preamble so that some of my folks at home know that even though I'm going to New Orleans in a period of a travel ban, which is a protest against your current government, I feel it is entirely justified because I'm going down to support my favorite literary event, which is Saints and Sinners, but also the LGBTQ+ community, who are as much under fire in your country as we in Canada feel we are in ours. So anybody who feels like I'm doing the wrong thing, please just stop and think about that before you send me hate messages.
I think they'll just be ended up sending you love messages. So that does lead into that means you have been to Saints and Sinners before. Is that correct?
Yes, my first time was extraordinary. It was about 6 months after Hurricane Katrina, so in March of 2006, when the city was very different from what it looks like now.
Yes, that was a period of time that broke my heart for sure, because I've been going to New Orleans off and on for 30 years. So I'm very familiar with pre and post Katrina and also the years of Katrina. It was just heartbreaking. So what is your favorite thing about Saints and Sinners?
The inclusivity. It immediately felt to me like I had joined a family of people that I just hadn't met yet. And I think that who was it, Gandhi, who said that, strangers are just friends you haven't met. And that was exactly what it felt like. And the diversity was fantastic. The range of topics that we talked about, the variety of readers. I mean, it was just, I just loved every bit of it.
I think so. I feel the exact same way. I think the one phrase that comes up the most is inclusivity. We all feel like we've come home in a way.
For sure. And that's why I keep coming back. Not every year. I tend to come every other year, but I think about who I'm going to see when I come down. To think, oh yeah, I'm going to meet this person. I'm going to see that person. I check out the online the calendar of events, and I say, oh yeah, great. Those are the people I'm going to see who I haven't seen for a couple of years, and I'm always excited to do that.
Totally agree. So do you have a favorite restaurant in New Orleans that you like to eat at?
I do. This goes back a few years now, when a bunch of us after the festival, I think it was on a Saturday night, said, hey, let's go out and have a bite. But we delayed it too long, and all the kitchens were closing. So we had a great recommendation for a restaurant on Royal Street. We got there just as they were pulling their shutter down, and I thought, okay, what do we do now? Tried a couple of others, and sorry, we're closing. We found one that was open. I think it's called Benachin. Y'all have different pronunciation down there from what I have. But it's 1212 Royal Street. It's a restaurant that specializes in West African cuisine. And I was tasting things that I had never tasted before.
I love that.
Every time I go back, there's an older man who I often see there, not every year, but I often see him. And I said, what are you recommending today? He goes, oh, sir, I would recommend this. And he's always spot on in his recommendations.
I love that. I happened upon a little place called Mamu up on Rampart Street a couple of years ago, and it's a very small restaurant, and it's owner chef operated, and the things they bring to the table, you just don't want them to end. They're just that's one of the greatest things about New Orleans is there's so many different ethnic foods to try, and so many wonderful restaurants. If anyone ever goes to New Orleans and leaves hungry, it's their problem and not because of lack of places to go, for sure.
That's not possible. I've never heard that, but if you
I don't
do,
think it's
talk to me or
possible.
Dan, and we'll set you right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, do you happen to have a favorite story of New Orleans you'd like to share?
I do actually. Um, as I mentioned, the first time I was there was after Katrina. I mean, the city was a disaster. I remember seeing a church with its steeple on an angle like this, collapsed sidewalks. There was stoplight, a street stoplight down, like just leaning at kind of chest height for me. And I just thought, oh, will these people ever come back? I can't believe the disaster that I'm seeing. Well, flash forward a few years, and I came back, and lo and behold, the city had come back magnificently. Perhaps not quite to the degree that it had been before, but it was thriving. And I back then I always stayed at a place called the Lions Inn on Charters Street, which is now closed, and that's down by the river. It's I think it's approaching the lower Ninth Ward. It's not quite there, which was where most of the disaster was. I woke up one morning and I was smelling smoke, and I thought, oh my God, the city's been underwater. Now it's going to be under fire. I mean, it was really strong. I borrowed a bicycle and I took it down to the wharves, to the dockyards. It was in fact part of the dockyards that were on fire. And I immediately had a flash for a story which became part of my comic mystery series. I have two mystery series. One's Dan Sharp, that's serious. The other is Bradford Fairfax, which is more fun and playful. But I had remembered a story somebody told me about Marie Laveau, visiting the tomb of Marie Laveau. And the legend went that you went and you picked up an orange chalk and you marked an X on her tomb. And if you got a sign within 24 hours saying, hey, come back and talk to me, you went back and you made a wish, or you made a promise, or whatever it was. Now, back then, you didn't have to pay to go into the cemetery, and B, no one was watching, so you could get away with these little. It was covered with these little X's. Do not do it now; they'll throw you in jail. Okay, but I went. I made my X. I made my wish. I dreamed of Marie that night. I thought, okay, there's my sign. Come on back. And when you get your sign, you come back and you make your wish or your promise, and you make a second X. And I did that, and I made a wish. And when you get the wish fulfilled, you're supposed to come back to put the third X on the tomb. So my wish, I can tell you now because it came true, my wish was to be able to write a book about New Orleans that would gain some prominence. So I went away, wrote the book. It was a few years later, in fact, it was quite a few years later that the book came out. It's called Bon Ton Roulé, so it's the fourth in the Bradford Fairfax series. It happened to be published in the 300th anniversary of the founding of New Orleans. I got an invitation to come and read from the book at something called the Cabildo at the Jackson Square with the mayor of New Orleans and a couple of other writers. And I thought, okay, that is my wish fulfilled. X number 3, thank you very much, Marie. I will always love you and believe in you. So that's my story about New Orleans.
I love it. I love it. Yes, now they would definitely lock you up for putting an X on. I think we went, a friend of mine and I went a couple of years ago, and I think it was $10 or $15 to get in, and you had a docent lead your tour around. You weren't able to just sort of willy-nilly go where you want anymore.
No,
I guess there were a few too many X's on Marie.
Blame it on me. I'm sorry.
That's right. That's right. What a lovely story, though. Your wish did come true, and I think that's a wonderful thing. So I did notice in that series, you go to all the LGBTQ hotspots and kill someone. I won't travel with you, just so we're clear.
All right. Well, I may end up inviting you anyway. You can be the distraction, while somebody else is being murdered over in another part of town.
That'll work for me. That'll work for
You'll
me.
just go to a nice restaurant and talk while something deadly is happening elsewhere.
Yes, if you need a meddlesome old man in one of your stories, I'm down for it. Trust me. The one that never shuts up. That'll be me. Wonderful. Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in New Orleans.
A great pleasure. Thank you for now, Dan, and I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much.
Bye for now.